Hey everybody, welcome to our early comics review video. I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and this is our big show where we show you some of the biggest and best books that are releasing this week to your local comic book store, or if you shop with us at infinityflux.net, they're all up there as well, where you can go ahead and order these books. They're live while supplies last, so when these books come out on Wednesday, you'll already have your name on them and don't have to worry about them selling out. This is a great week for books. There's some heavy hitters, there's some new number ones, so this is a really cool one, as you can already see right here. Some two big DC ones to start off with.
And there's bigger DC ones coming.
Yes, so let's kick it off.
We're going to start with Immortal Legend Batman number 1. We've been waiting for this one for a while now. Let's take the glare off that a little bit. There we go. This is written by Kyle Higgins and Matt Groom, and the art is by Erica Duraso and Dan Mora. Now, first things first, this is a very a very sci-fi slash Super Sentai take on the Batman mythos. There's also a little bit of a Western flair as well. It kind of reminds me of something like Firefly a little bit too.
Yeah.
With the way that was very sci-fi, but they dressed like they were in a small Western town or saloons and stuff. So this story takes place on a planet called Avoca. And there are references to Gotham, but it sounds like Gotham is also a planet or maybe some kind of space outpost or something, because they reference, there's a character who references their time on Gotham, not in Gotham.
Okay.
But, and, like I said, it has this Western feel to it because we meet Mayor Harvey Dent and Sheriff Bruce Wayne, and they are dressed like they're in a Western, like they're with a tie and a bowler hat and everything. And they are at the scene of a grisly murder, and they're very puzzled because the body has been mutilated in a way that no ordinary human could have done. And they think it may have been the work of a shadow, which are these extra-dimensional beings that entered our world in the 22nd century after the barrier between our universe and the shadow universe was torn open because they were working with dark matter to try to start traveling the stars, basically. And so now these shadow creatures are a thing. And during their investigation, they run into the Immortal Batman, who has a theory about who is responsible for this murder, but it's one that Mayor Dent and Sheriff Wayne don't believe, and it kind of leads to an altercation between the two of them that takes up about half the book. I don't want to say what happens from there. There are a couple of revelations already in this about maybe what's going on and who's involved and that kind of thing, and that's going to lead into a larger story to come. But and also the last few pages of this, don't worry if as you're reading this you're confused. It's like, wait a minute, what are these shadow creatures and who the heck is Immortal Batman and what in the world is going on?
It sounds like if he's talking to Bruce Wayne, we could assume maybe it's not Bruce Wayne.
Maybe. But I will say the last few pages sort of fill us in on what this world is like, who and what the Immortal Legends are. It explains the shadow creatures and how they came to be. So just read through the story, just, sort of like, keep an open mind about the story. And then when you get to the last few pages, that's your explanation. And it almost seems like maybe it should have been, it should have been at the beginning, like a nice prologue, but it will explain itself if you just get through the book. There is an explanation at the end. And that's where Dan Mora's pencils come in. He does he does sort of like the epilogue that kind of explains this world, and it looks really cool. So this is really cool. Like I said, it's a really cool sci-fi Super Sentai version of Batman. Batman's got this cool look here. It seems like maybe he can do a couple more things that the regular Batman can't do, but I'm not quite sure on that yet. It is set in the future as well. There's also a little bit of a mystery introduced because apparently this Batman has not been seen in years, and all of a sudden he's back, and we don't really know why. This seems like, sure, he's back to solve a murder, but it's just like one random guy. So what about this has brought Batman out of hiding or out of wherever he's been? So yeah, there's going to be a lot of story to tell, and this is just the introduction. So I really like this quite a bit.
Yeah, and it's got the Elseworld logo on it, so I
keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about Oh, is this like the future of the DC universe?
Yeah.
This is all on its own. This
Yeah.
is its own separate, uh, kind of not even a what if tale. It's just taking these ideas, these names, these characters, all of
Yeah.
that, and telling a new story.
Just doing something totally different. And it's really, really cool.
Is it going to be like 6 issues? Something
I think,
like
yeah,
that?
5 or 6 probably,
Okay.
yeah. So this is our A cover right there showing off the Immortal Legend Batman. And we have this really nice foil cover by Homer. Nice foil there. And then we have this blank sketch variant, but I don't have the artist's name on that one.
You can write it on there.
Yeah, you can.
Whatever you want. You can say whoever drew this white cover. Well, I've got a big book, not a number one, but one that a lot of people are talking about. This is Absolute Martian Manhunter number 6. Now, this one is cool because originally this was supposed to be a 6-issue miniseries. It got extended to 12, so we're only now halfway through it, but this is the original natural conclusion to our first big story. And it definitely feels like that. Everything has been leading up to this. This is the showdown between Martian Manhunter, the Green Martian, and the White Martian that's been kind of teased since the beginning. Now, this book is hard to talk about. Every issue is kind of hard to talk about because it is so abstract. This is such a book that defies kind of what you think about comics and superheroes and all of that. Um, so this is a big battle between the two Martians. Meanwhile, there's also a fight going on with John Jones. He even kind of makes a point saying, like, there's this fight going on all around us and above us with these two beings that are fighting with metaphors and ideas and all this. But here on the ground, these are real punches being thrown and real pain and all of that. So I don't want to really give away. He's fighting someone to protect his family, which is a nice kind of coming back to his family in this. But there is kind of a breakthrough that happens for John Jones in this, which I'm very interested to see. It's very hard to tell in this book what's real and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that line maybe even starts shifting a little bit more. But the battle between the two Martians is so abstract and so weird that they're fighting by pulling out people's dreams and hitting each other with them and fighting inside the minds and the eyes and of other people, and it's so cool and weird. But if you've been enjoying the series, it's going to feel like the kind of pinnacle of these weird ideas that have been played across the series with phenomenal art and uh, uh, storytelling and the way pages are laid out. It's just kind of the peak of how every issue has been so far,
Yeah.
leading up to this moment. There is something very interesting at the very end. Now that we know this is going to be 12 issues instead of 6, we do get a hint at maybe the story to come. And even that is so kind of abstract that it's going to have people talking about, what do you think this means? Is what are we actually seeing here? But I'm very interested after this to see how the Martian maybe can even manifest in the real world. We'll have to see.
Okay.
If because like I said, this is so abstract. I don't even know. I don't know if anyone can see him or whatever. But it's awesome. It's if you've enjoyed this series so far, this is going to be peak of enjoyment for the
Okay,
series because
nice.
it's everything that you love about it.
And when this comes back with issue number 7, they are taking a couple months break.
Yeah.
So don't expect another issue next month. Dennis Camp said that they could have done it, like sequential months if they had brought in a guest artist. But he said that oh shoot, I'm blanking on the artist name. Rodriguez.
Javier Rodriguez.
He said that Rodriguez is just as essential to this book as I am, is what Dennis Camp said.
Yeah, he said it would be easier to bring in a guest writer than a guest artist. And
yeah.
that completely makes sense. Even though I would love to see, I love on the variants to see other artists' interpretations of it. The way the sequential storytelling is done in this is, it almost looks like you're also walking through an art gallery.
Right.
Because panels are shapes, but the shapes represent things, and it's so crazy but cool. So Again, highly recommend, but everyone who's reading it is loving it. You see the fight taking place on there. Like the White Martian is on the cover. You'll have to see that if you spot him, but that's not too far off from what the book looks like on the
Okay.
inside. So there is your A cover. We have this Mitch Gerads. I always mispronounce his name. Gerads.
Yeah.
I always want to add an extra R in it. Mitch Gerads cover. We have this Amy Reeder cover as well. Just what a. There's no other book on the stands like Absolute Martian.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. All right, next up, I've got Doomed 2099, number 1. This is from Frank Thierry, and the art is by Delio Diaz and Frank Alpizar. Now, this is a one-shot that, even though it does not have the banner at the top, it still pretty much is a One World Under Doom tie-in because it features Doom 2099 battling the present-day Sorcerer Supreme Doctor Doom. But it doesn't really, like, inject much into the main story. It just takes place while Doom is Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
So, Sorcerer Supreme Doom, he gets a message from Doom 2099 urging him to relinquish his power because he says that if he doesn't, it will have dire consequences for the future. But Doom 2099 says he can't reveal what those consequences will be because it could adversely affect the timeline. And of course, Doom just shrugs this off. Nobody tells Doom what to do.
Even Doom doesn't tell Doom what to do.
Even future me doesn't tell me what to do. So then, Doom 2099 actually appears in Doom's castle alongside Bishop, Maestro, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Rachel Summers, Phoenix, Deathlock, and Old Man Logan. So a whole bunch of time displaced characters join Doom 2099 to try to take down his past self as a Sorcerer Supreme. And so all of that is just within the first few pages, and then the rest of the issue is one big fight between all those characters, and it's really, really cool. We also get a little bit of a flashback. It's weird to say a flashback for something that happens in the future, but it's a flashback of Doom 2099 preparing for this battle, and apparently it's not the first time it's happened. It's one of those stories where the protagonist travels back in time over and over and over again, trying to accomplish their goal, hoping for a different outcome and failing every time.
And keeps bringing different combinations of people with him that have all failed.
Right.
And so you do get a lot of really fun cameos.
Yeah. So I'm definitely not going to tell you, not going to spoil the ending, but even though Doom 2099 won't tell Doom why he needs to relinquish his power and what those adverse consequences for the future are, we get to see it. And it's really cool.
Yeah.
Like, I gasped. I was like, oh my gosh, that's what happens. Okay. So we see at the end of the book why Doom 2099 is so adamant about taking down his past self, getting rid of those powers, that kind of thing. And it's really, really cool. So I love this even more than I thought that I would. I always loved Doom 2099 back in the day when I was a kid buying the series in the 90s. The artwork is really cool. It's got like this big, fast-paced action, like lots of explosions and all kinds of stuff. It's just really, really fun. So if you're a fan of Doctor Doom or Doom 2099 or any of that stuff, grab this because it's really cool.
Yeah, this is it's up there as maybe my pick of the week.
Yeah.
And I did not think it would be. Like, yeah, I like Doom 2099. I like his character design. I like a lot of the 2099 characters. But there's something about, like, this kicks into high gear right away.
Yeah.
And just seeing, like, I don't know, the dialogue flow, seeing the two Dooms interact was so cool. Every page was something interesting happening. This was just like kind of a masterclass in a one shot, especially for like a superhero comic. You have an interesting story, great action, kind of cameos of other characters. Like you said, Cosmic Ghost Rider's in here. It's just cool to see him back.
Yeah.
They all have lines and dialogue and all of that when I got to the end, I was like, oh man, I kind of wish this was like a 3-issue miniseries.
I know. I was really upset. I was like, no, don't end. I want to keep going. Like, what happens next? And I want to read about Doom 2099 in his own time because adverse effects into the future, that kind of thing. Like, I want to read more of that story, and we don't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll.
Yeah, maybe this will open the door for more of his stories. But after this, I was like, okay, I'm this may be it's up there as my favorite tie-ins to One World Under Doom, which has had some really good tie-ins.
Yeah, so I like this one a lot. So this is our A cover right here, and we have this Ken Lashley variant, and that's kind of like what the book is like right there.
I was
This
also so
is
excited to see
the
Maestro. I
oh,
love
I love
Maestro,
Maestro.
and it was
Yeah,
just cool.
there's the Castellini variant, and Doom's got his mask off in that one, and he's not looking so great.
Old meat face.
It's out of focus though. Trying to get it focused. This one is gorgeous. This is the Dan Panosian foil variant. The split face, and it's all foil there. And then this is the 1 in 25 Ario and Indito variant that we're selling for $19.99.
Well, next up, we've got another Absolute book. This Absolute Wonder Woman number 11. Now, if you've been following this, this isn't the end of a story. This isn't the beginning of a story. This is in the middle of a story. I'm guessing 12 will probably wrap up this maze story. But we are still in the middle of Diana in this maze. And what I like about this is she can get out anytime she wants.
Right,
She made a doorway in it. It's not like a classic I'm trapped in a maze thing. But she does have a job while she's there.
That old chestnut. I'm
Yeah.
trapped in a maze.
But her main reason to go in the maze was that she heard there was a Themyscira and an Amazon in there, and she wants to know about her people and find this, kind of lost sister that would be in there. And I'm not going to give away about what she finds here. She does find someone, but I won't give away what it is. But the other really interesting thing in here is she also discovers that because there's been a lot of people stuck in this maze, that they've actually kind of met up and started a little community inside of the maze. It's kind of a big room that has, of course, a lot of little branches going out from it. But they've got little fires started and little tents set up. It's a really fun idea of if you're just stuck in here, you might as well make yourself comfortable. But that she learns that they've also been attempting to get out, and they've tried tunneling through the walls a few times. And one time they said they hit like steel. One time they hit some kind of like impenetrable wall. One time they hit water, and they had to like close it up real fast because they said, we think we hit the ocean. And what she respects about it is every time it's like we're not going to try this unless we can all escape. So she kind of finds some mutual like, hey, they're considered of everyone in this situation. And Wonder Woman does inform him like, hey, I actually have a way out. Like I got a door over here, but it's gonna draw the spotlight of Cersei. No, it's not Cersei. It's
I don't remember. It wasn't. She wasn't an Amazon.
No, my thing says Cleo, but it's not Cleo because Cleo's from Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
Anyways, it would draw like the eye of the enemy in this one, and so Wonder Woman is now like, I'm gonna help all these people escape, but we're doing it together. That's just like the first part of this. There is something else in this, and I talked about it a little bit on the shorter show. There is something that Wonder Woman encounters in here that I'll say is amorphous. It can speak, but it doesn't have a form to it. It's kind of globular or whatever. Something happens at the end of this issue, and I'm sure it was intentional, but I don't know if it's true, that it definitely gives you ideas of another character on the final page that could have nothing to do with a new absolute character, but is very reminiscent of a character you're familiar with. And I'd be super excited if it went that way, but once again, I don't know if it's just a tease or it's something else. You'll know when you read it, because it's, at least to me, it was obvious. But overall, this was a great issue with a lot of really cool character building and a lot of great Wonder Woman being very classic Wonder Woman of thinking about the people and thinking about saving people. And there's whole parts of this I've left out because I don't want to give it away, but it's very, very cool. there's clues on this cover, but I'll let you read it to see for yourself. Here is your A cover. We also have, let's see, this is the Derek Chu cover. This one's awesome.
I think that's the one I pre-ordered.
Once again, she doesn't use the sword because it wouldn't fit in the maze.
Yeah.
We have, all these are really good. This is the Perel cover. And that is it.
All right. Well, I've got Thor #1, and there's some confusion because some sites are listing it as Mortal Thor #1,
Yeah.
but I looked at the fine print, where they always put under the credits, and it just says Thor, volume whatever, #1 or whatever.
Yeah. So like when these came in, the shipment, the invoice, that's where we get what's the official name of this? Because sometimes things are categorized under the when they shouldn't be or whatever. This book is called Thor.
Yeah.
This is just kind of a fun little
like
bit.
amazing. You're no, not even that because that's
no,
part
amazing
of the title,
would be
but,
A. This is under T for Thor.
Yeah. But it's weird because Immortal Thor was Immortal Thor, and it's weird for it to not be Mortal Thor. It's just Thor now, so I don't know.
And this is less Thor than Immortal Thor, so it should be called Mortal Thor.
It should be, yeah. Oh well. Anyway, this is still from Al Ewing, and then the art is by Pascal Ferry, and this is the next series that follows on the heels of Immortal Thor. Now, I haven't read that series in over a year, so I don't know how that ended. That led us to where we are here. But when we start here, Thor is now living in a rundown apartment in New York City under the name Sigurd Jarlsson, and appears to have no memory of who he really is or of his past life. For all he knows, he's just a guy with a hammer, but not like Mjolnir, just like a carpenter's hammer.
He kind of looks like Thunderstrike on the cover.
I know. I want bring back Thunderstrike. So one day he heads out to find some work, and it's here that we meet his neighbor, Chris. She does know Sigurd, but she finds it odd that she can't remember him moving in. She even makes a comment. She's like, it's like, you've been living here for a while, but it's odd that I don't remember you ever moving in. You were just here all of a sudden. So they're both on their way out, and on their way out, they cross paths with another strange individual who they don't know, but who seems very mischievous.
Oh.
So I'm wondering, is that Loki in disguise? I don't know. If you read Immortal Thor, maybe there's a lot of clues. I have no idea, but this, I'm going into this blind. So Sigurd does go to a warehouse to apply for a job doing construction work that he saw advertised on a telephone pole. But when he gets there, he and the other workers there, they eventually realize that job that they're there to do would be replacing other workers who are on strike, and they don't want to be like strike breakers or anything, so they all leave. And the man trying to organize the workers, he's pretty unhappy. He sees Sigurd as the one leading this charge, which makes him very unhappy. And I'm not going to tell you anything else, but it does lead to some kind of conflict, and we get to see the mortal Thor in action a little bit, but don't expect him to go twirling Mjolnir and flying in the sky and casting down lightning or anything like that. So yeah, this is. I mean, I like this. I don't really know how we got here, but with the way this ends, I definitely want to read the next one. There's a nice afterword by Al Ewing talking about how we got here, and he explains that this series is the second act in a 3-act epic. And that Immortal Thor was just the first act of this big giant Thor story he's telling. So I don't imagine this will last very long. Well, I don't know. The last one will last 20-something issues, right?
Yeah.
So I guess this is going to run however long it's going to run, and then maybe there will be another Thor series afterwards at some point, which is going to be the third act. I'm just guessing. I have no idea. The only thing is I feel like we have seen this story before of Thor losing his memory and living as immortal. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like we've read it.
Kind of harkening back to that, very much like the Straczynski story where Thor had to go and wake up all of his his friends, his fellow gods, because they were in the bodies of that.
That's what this feels like. Thor was Thor, but all the rest of them were just like regular dudes, and he had to wake them up. That's what this feels like. Only now it's happened to Thor instead. So maybe that's what'll happen. When they first solicited this, I thought maybe this was like a Don Blake thing where it's like, oh, he's mortal, but he's gonna stamp his hammer and be Thor. But no, he's Thor, but he just doesn't know he's Thor,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have his powers right, at least right now, or maybe he does, but he doesn't know it or something.
So would you say, is this, if you did not read Immortal Thor, how easily could someone pick this up?
I mean, if you know that there was another big Thor epic story before this, then I get, because like I said, I haven't read Immortal Thor in over a year, and I don't know how we got here, but it doesn't. You're just like, okay, Thor's mortal now, and I guess we'll maybe find out more about it as it goes on. So I guess if you want to read it and you haven't read Immortal Thor, you could just know that there was a whole bunch that came before this, and that however that ended led us here. So
Just true with all comics.
yeah.
Everything leads into the next.
Right. So anyway, this is our A cover right there, and we got a bunch of variants for this one. This is the Joe Quesada variant. This is I love this one, the J. Scott Campbell variant. We have the Pasquale Ferry variant, so that's your interior artist. So that's what the book looks like, except we don't see this guy in it. This is the Jeffrey Brown. I want a whole book of just that.
Yeah.
This is the Blank Sketch variant. This is the Patrick Gleason foil variant. Holy cow! And it's kind of like the Spider-Man ones that he did.
But he's made of
it's
lightning.
all lightning. Yep. And then we have this David Marquez 1 in 25 that we're selling for $14.99. This is the 1/100 full art variant from Joe Quesada that we're selling for $89.99. And then this is the 1/100 J. Scott Campbell full art variant that we're selling for $99.99. Now we did put a little band-aid on it because there is a little bit of a spine ding right there. It doesn't break the color, but in the right light you can see it. I can even feel it too. It's right there. And I think that's the only ding.
Yeah.
On it is just right there, but the color is still fine. So that's the only defect.
Well, next up, we have our first of two this week, but first one we're talking about of the Imperial War tie-in books that we've been waiting for a while. I mean, there's only one issue left of Imperial, and we're just now getting some of these one-shots, and we still got quite a few to go.
Well, yeah, there's a couple other Imperial. Yeah, there's maybe like
Exiles.
3 or 4. Yeah, they're the one with. Yeah, there's something else too. Nova.
There's the Nova one. So yeah, I think there's one represented for each of the new series coming out. But like we know now that each of these is going to have kind of a series that follows after it, because Imperial is there to kind of re-establish the galactic hierarchy. So that's going on in the Imperial book, but I'm going to talk about Imperial War Planet She-Hulk #1, which I called was going to be a thing. I just point this out. When I saw that this book was coming out, I said, I think this is going to lead into a Planet She-Hulk book written by Stephanie Phillips, and I was right. And I just like to remind everyone
you called that like months ago.
Yep. I just had an inkling. So this is by Stephanie Phillips and Jonathan Hickman, with art by Emilio Lazo and Matt Milla. And I really like this. I'm a big She-Hulk fan, and I am a big Planet Hulk fan, and this is just the perfect mashup of that.
Like peanut butter and jelly.
But what's so great about it is She-Hulk is very different than Bruce Banner Hulk. He kind of leaned into the gladiatorial style. She is still an attorney, and she does break the fourth wall in here. At one point, she's even playing with the panels. She kind of bends them and pulls them up and stuff. Yeah,
I didn't notice that.
It's like it's in one of the first pages you see where she's talking to the audience, and she kind of like pulls herself out of a panel. That was really fun.
I don't remember that.
But in this, this follows up from what happened on, it's like maybe the third page or fourth. This follows up from next one. She's grabbing it and leaning on it.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this follows up from what happened in issue #1 of Imperial, where Bruce Banner, Amadeus Cho, and Jen wind up on Sakaar to figure out what's going on with these mysterious murders of the leaders of these groups, and basically says, okay, Sakaar is a very dangerous place. we're gonna leave you, She-Hulk, to kind of keep the peace because they just lost their leader and they will go ballistic without some kind of leadership and someone to chill things out. And that's what we kind of follow up on. This is she's there kind of playing the marshal role, kind of the peacekeeper, all of that. Well, what happens? But there's another murder. This time it's a political advisor to the other person that got killed that started kind of all of this. And she thinks, okay, well, I'm gonna, this isn't good. I'm gonna start doing an investigation. What she soon learns is this is Sakaar and this is part of life.
Mm-hmm.
And so she's having a very hard time with her like her law background and everything navigating this very outlaw place where these gladiatorial fights are just part of life and day in day out. But she also has a really fun kind of assistant named Conrad, who is a former gladiator, but now he's a cyborg. He's a little bit like a C-3PO. He's very like logical and the way he talks. But what happens is Jen does learn that maybe the murder was done by one of the advisor's 5 wives, and he has very distinct, different wives. And maybe they all have a motive to be the one who did it, and she is now going to uh, do some investigating work and snoop around and all of that to figure out what happened. So this is kind of a done in one murder mystery with Jen trying to figure it out. But you do see how at the end this is going to lead into her bigger story that's going to be, as far as we know, an ongoing series coming up later this year.
On that last, well, I won't say what it is, but I really liked on that last page the caption at the top.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, here we go. This is here. We're going to go into that new series in a couple months.
Yeah, so this is really fun. The art in this is great. Just She-Hulk, it has that great dialogue and very down to earth in a place that is like you stepped into like medieval or like ancient Rome.
Yeah.
She's kind of the only one who is kind of acting sane in it. But really fun. Definitely recommend picking this one up. Even if you're not following all of the Imperial story, as long as you know that it gives you a good setup for this, for what she's doing there. And if you're planning on reading the Planet She-Hulk series that's going to be coming out later this year, this is kind of an issue 0 for it. This is getting you in the headspace of what that series is going to be. So highly recommended. I love it just because, one, I love She-Hulk, but also it was a really fun ride. There is your A cover. We've got a great J. Scott Campbell, just spectacular collection cover. And we've got this is the Malavia cover. There's no tigers in this, but
it should be.
And we also have this, I think this is a 1 in 25 by Nogi-san cover. We're selling for $24.99.
Well, keeping in line with Imperial, we have Imperial War Black Panther. This is the week of pairs of books, right? Because this is not the last pair that we'll see. So this one is from Victor LaValle and Jonathan Hickman, and the art is by Cafu. And this issue takes place between issues 2 and 3 of Imperial. I thought it would focus more on the fight between Black Panther and Hulk and Brawn that we saw at the end of issue number 2. But really, Hulk and Brawn are barely in this. And what this really is Black Panther reaching out to the other factions in this big galactic battle to tell them that Wakanda was not responsible for the murders of the galactic leaders that started this whole fiasco in the first place. And he proposes a temporary ceasefire while they all work together to find out what's really going on. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'll say that if they all just simply agreed, if they all just said, yeah, that sounds good, then it wouldn't be much of a story. So there is a little bit more after that. A little bit of backstabbing, a little bit of two-facedness and that kind of thing. And this, just like the She-Hulk book, this is going to lead, I'm assuming anyway, going to lead into the Black Panther Intergalactic series that's coming out, I want to say December Okay, I made a note of that. So yeah, I can't wait to see where this goes. But yeah, just more of Black Panther being cool and being strategic and that kind of thing, and trying to keep the peace, trying to work with all these factions to figure out what's really going on. Of course, we now know what's going on.
Yeah.
All the cards have been laid out on the table for us, but for them in the book, they're still trying to piece it all together.
Now, there is a character that appears in here that is essentially caught in the crossfire of everything going on that I wonder if it's going to play a role in the new series.
Yeah.
Because of what Black Panther says at the end and kind of uh, his regret about something, whatever.
Yeah.
So it could be the first appearance of a character that's going to play a factor in
Yeah.
that. We'll have to see. Of course, we don't know until that new series comes out. But I thought there's kind of for this grand thing that's going on in Imperial, it's a little thing that grounds the story, and you see kind of the consequences of what's going on. That I thought was handled really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this was a cool tie-in too. Like all of Imperial's been really cool so far. So this is our A cover, and we have this Mobley variant also. Yeah, we don't. I thought this is this issue is going to be that, but it's not really.
Well, because kind of when that happened in issue 2,
well,
you see them about to fight, and then kind of the camera cuts, and you go somewhere else.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're only right in the beginning of it. Well, next up, I've got a very exciting one. This is Justice League Unlimited number 10. This is big because there are some kind of threads that you could follow in this to the upcoming DC KO event. So, in the previous issue, we saw Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman have a meeting. We don't witness the meeting. We just see them come together. I don't remember if it was Batman or Superman, but one of them says, I think we made a mistake. Well, we see that meeting in this issue, and we learn what that mistake might have been. And it's kind of a bigger idea, but it does give me some feelings about some of the stuff that is happening over in Justice League Red that just came out last week. About maybe they created this Justice League too hastily. But you have to read to see really the nuts and bolts of it. But it is interesting, and the Trinity, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, butt heads on a lot of this about how things were handled. And I thought that was all really interesting, and how Wonder Woman kind of plays the mediator of the group. That's why she's so important to be there. But I don't want to give too much away about this, but this story, for the most part, is a kind of a threefold crisis going on. So there is something to do with the Time Trapper that we've been following through Superman and Justice League Unlimited, and something happens, and he ends up on the Watchtower, a little worse for wear. So there is a story going on there. There is another story that is very interesting about some pits opening up around the world that are very reminiscent of the fire pits on Apocalypse. And they even start asking questions like, what do those pits on Apocalypse, what's their purpose? And is this doing the same thing? I do want to say what's very cool about that part is, one, where it opens up is another classic DC location. But we do get the first, not really the first appearance, because I think he did appear in a wide shot or very briefly in maybe the DC All In special.
Are you talking about Cardejos?
Cadejos.
Yeah, he's been in a couple books before.
Maybe World's Finest?
Well, he was in, World's Finest is where he first appeared during that Kingdom Come storyline. And then he was also in, I want to say it was either the All In special or maybe like one of the early issues of Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
Because Batman's like, we've got the heavy hitters ready. And you had like Captain Marvel and Mary Marvel, but also he was there in the background too.
So, but this is maybe the most spotlight he's got. And he's a new character created just recently. I think mostly based off of Dan Mora's designs for characters.
I'm pretty sure, Dan Mora, I think he should be credited as the creator.
Yeah.
That's his guy,
But his name is Cadejos, and he is kind of a really big buff werewolf looking character.
Fire werewolf.
But like around his wrist and around his neck, kind of like a mane is flames.
Yeah.
And he's kind of there like, I'm part of it. Like no one's questioning like, oh, it's the new guy. He's like,
guy,
I'm cool. But they bring him because he can survive the heat of
Yeah.
these fire pits, which is really, really cool. But you'll have to read that to find out the craziness goes on there. And then there's also something going on with the parademon they've had locked up in the Watchtower since issue 2 that they learned was guarding those eggs. There were maybe parademon eggs or something that was at the end of issue 1, issue 2. Something's happening with that parademon, and so you've got 3 crisis things that are building up to peak levels where the Justice League are going to be in serious trouble on multiple fronts.
Yeah, there's 3 things happening at the same time, and even I was sitting here reading it right before this, and I even said there's a lot going on in this, but then like it kind of like started to come together. Like these three things are happening at the same time, but they all seem to maybe be related.
Yeah,
and like all 3 of these are going to amount to something even worse that happens.
Yeah, you'll pull back and see the big picture going on. But this is where some of the big moves in the DC universe are taking place, and I think this is going to be one of them. So, highly recommend. Awesome issue. I can't wait for the next one because I have no idea what to expect from each of these story beats they're setting up. But very fun.
Yeah, multiple times I was like, "Oh, what's going on there? Oh, what's that about? Oh, what's that?" And all this stuff is going to come together for like some big, I don't want to say crisis, but something big and bad.
So, and a very cool, kind of cold open to this. That I'm not gonna give it away, but it's very cool. So this is your A cover. We have the Zerdy variant with Wonder Woman and Supergirl. We have this Lynn variant with Zatanna. I love this one.
Yeah, this one's great.
This is the Bruno Redondo, like the artist spotlight cover with Plastic Man, and that's just awesome.
He's not in this, but I wish he were in this doing that.
Doing that, really
yeah. Well, keeping in line with that, we have Superman number 29. Now, we are starting to get closer and closer to DCKO, and this book is doing a lot of the heavy lifting to get us there. So it's hard to say too much about this without spoiling, because there's big things that happen in this, and I don't want to spoil anything for you. But I will say that Superman and the surprise character from last issue, I think everybody knows who it is, but just in case, I won't say it. But Superman and that character travel to the 31st century to check on the Legion, because that's what Superman was going to do last issue anyway. He said he's worried about the Legion. He wants to go check on them. So he and his character go do that. But I will tell you that when they get there, what they find is not very good. They expect to find something much different than what they see. It's a lot of desolation. It's a lot of destruction. And they're like, what? I mean, it looks like a big war happened. Like, what in the world happened to the 31st century? This looks awful. There is a big battle with the Legion of Darkseid. So if you've been wondering about them, we see more of them in this. And there's a lot of members of the Legion of superheroes. There's that same number of members of the Legion of Darkseid, right? So that we get to see all of them. We finally learned what happened to Booster Gold back in the All-In special. Booster Gold is in this, and we finally start getting some answers to that question. There are twists, there are turns, there's all kinds of stuff in this, and that's really all I feel comfortable saying, because this is pretty big, and this actually kind of lines up with Justice League Unlimited as well.
There is a moment in Justice League Unlimited where Superman says, "I got something I got to go do," and then you see the little caption and it says, "See this issue of Superman." So one leads right into the other.
So Superman and Justice League Unlimited are pretty much working hand in hand to get us to DCKO in October.
Yep.
And I'm here for it. So big things happening. I don't want to say anything more.
Basically everything after the first 2 or 3 pages of this
it's just nothing but spoilers.
Are just spoilers and big pieces moving on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. But definitely highly recommended. I love this, man. So this is our A cover right here. This is the David Aja variant. He's been doing a bunch of those. I love this one. This is the Ariel Olivetti. And maybe that gives you a little hint as to something that happens in this book. We get the Bruno Redondo, what's it called again? The Artist Spotlight Bruno Redondo cover. And then this is the awesome Virgin version of the A cover, but it's foil by Dan Mora. This is the one I pre-ordered. That looks so good.
Every issue of Superman is, you got to brace yourself
Bigger
before
and
because
bigger,
you
yeah.
know something's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Next up, I have our next of the Universal Monsters books. This is Universal Monsters Invisible Man #1. It's by James Tynion, and the art is by Danny. And this one's really interesting. And I want to preface this by saying that there is a letter in the back after you finish the book by James Tynion. It kind of explains his thought process on this because, and I've always thought it's a little weird that the Invisible Man is considered a universal monster because he's just a man.
He's a guy.
He's a scientist. He's even he's kind of a jerk, but he's not evil.
Yeah.
He's all that. And in the letter, James Tynion does talk about that fact that he's not an outward monster like a Dracula or Frankenstein's monster or Wolfman. He's the horror of just under the surface is a monster. That this is the horror in the mundane. This is the person next to you could be concocting evil and you not even know it. So in this, we get the origin of Jack Griffin, the Invisible Man, and it's been a while since I've seen the movie, so I'm not sure how this lines up, or is this take place between some scenes? But he's working on this formula. He's got an obsession with perfecting this formula, even though it kind of feels like the people who are paying him to do research and everything are kind of like, that's your pet project, but we really need you to be working over here. But first he tested on a rat, and he's amazed that he could turn this rat from being a normal looking rat to like kind of an albino rat. And then he keeps working on it, and suddenly he can turn the rat invisible, but still its hair is visible, which is a very interesting looking thing.
Okay.
But it's kind of his overall obsession with this chemical that is the primary point of the invisibility serum, and how it's affecting his life and the people around him. And he's kind of already an odd guy, and more following him as a person. Like, I'll say he doesn't turn invisible in this. Like, there's some hints at kind of a cold open thing, but for the most part, this is an origin story. And I thought it was really interesting, and it definitely helped with that backup letter from James Tynion that you go, oh, this is why it's included in this Universal Monsters pantheon of characters. So if you have enjoyed those, you'll enjoy this one. If you're a fan of the character, definitely check this out. But it's definitely a different flavor of horror than the ones you're used to. So here is your A cover. I believe that's by Danny. Yeah, that's your interior artist right there. We have this really nice headshot variant of the Invisible Man up against a white wall. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
And we also have this Middleton variant.
All right, we've got a new book from Dark Horse. This is called Masterminds. I think this is going to be a 4, maybe 5 issue series. I'm not quite sure, but this is written by Zach Kaplan and the art is by Stephen Thompson. And this is about a guy named Edward. He's a very smart, very ambitious. I want to emphasize he's very, very smart. He's very analytical. He's ambitious, but he's also very down on his luck. He's a video game developer, and he's tired of not ever being able to get ahead in life. He grew up. I think his mom was died when he was young, and his father maybe left. So he grew up with his grandparents, but they weren't super great guardians, And he grew up kind of alone. He got picked on at school all the time, but he found comfort in video games. He said, I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that, but when I got home from school, I could solve the wizard's puzzle, I could beat this dungeon or whatever. So he's a video game guy, and as he grew up, he developed this indie game about this you're a bird and you could fly. You had to learn how to fly, but once you could do it, you could soar all over the world. And he won some awards, some like indie game awards and things like that. And he eventually got a job at, I don't remember the name of the company, but it's like one of the largest video game publishers in the world. And he got a job there, but it's a pretty mundane job. He's designing trees and stuff, and he just wants more out of life, but he just can't seem to get ahead. He wants to pitch his game to the president of the company because he has seen the president of the company lift up creators before, but that doesn't pan out, and he just he can't get his life going. Well, one day he's at a video game convention, and they're under the gun trying to get this like tech demo ready to show off to everybody tomorrow for their new game. And he learns about this secret society called Masterminds that is made up of the biggest power players in the world. They talk about smart people have Mensa, and politicians have the Skull and Bone Society or whatever. But this group is like eclipses all of those. It is this like top secret of the biggest, most powerful people in the world, and they're actually having, and I guess it's pretty open because they're like people can go like I don't audition isn't the right word, but apply or something like that. But in order to get in, you have to solve all these puzzles and riddles and things like that. And so far, nobody's been able to do it. But Edward is very smart and analytical, and he's able to solve some. And so he starts to get like further and further in. But the puzzles and the riddles and stuff start to get deadlier and deadlier. Mm. But if he can get into this organization, basically every door in the world will be open to him. That like the sky will be the limit after that. So it's really, really cool. Secret societies and murder and mystery and that kind of thing. Video games as well. So I really like that aspect of it. So just a really cool miniseries. I really want to see and this moved pretty quick too. I thought it would just like, oh, we're gonna meet Edward, and at the very end he learns about the Masterminds. But no, he's already solving puzzles. And he's getting in deep already in this first issue. So it's very, very cool. I cannot wait to see what happens next in this. And this is the only cover we have.
So is that group only made up of video game developers, or it's everybody?
No, I think it's anybody, any big and powerful person, I'm pretty sure.
I like stuff around the video game industry.
Yeah. Well, and this has a lot of that, like, and a lot of it's kind of hits close to home with, crunch time, and everybody's being forced to like stay late and stay overnight to get this tech demo ready for a game that they say is going to get panned in a couple days anyway, and like it's very
going to get to the top and realize Todd Howard's at the top.
right, yeah.
Anyways, next up I have Ultimate Spider-Man number 20. Not a whole lot to say about this book.
Not much to say at all.
This is almost like a sequel issue to. Do you remember what issue number?
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah. Because I went back and looked.
It's the we're all gonna sit around a dinner table and talk about our feelings, or talk about kind of laying cards on the table.
Yeah.
But it's funny now because it's the same group. It's Peter and MJ and Gwen and Harry, but technically Harry's supposed to be dead.
Right.
And so they're like, we can't sit like in a window seat. We got to go sit in the back because I can't let people see me. But all of this comes about because Mary Jane in the previous issue was like, I'm tired of being in the dark. I'm tired of stuff going on around me that involves me and
my family,
and my family and my kids. Like, how much danger am I in? All of that. It's time to step up and let me know everything that's going on. And they all agree. And so they go out to dinner. And it very much feels like that previous issue number 4, where most of this is just dialogue. There's no Spider-Man in this. There's no Green Goblin. There's no punching. There's no action. Well, there might be a little hint of a punching in action, but you'll have to read and find out. Yeah. But, so there's not a whole lot to say because MJ does keep saying, tell me everything. I don't want to be in the dark. And I don't know if she really learns anything new.
So
she just learns how severe in the crap they are.
Yeah, so honestly, this may be one of my least favorite issues of the whole series. I was excited when they announced it because I was like, oh, there's not going to be any fighting. This is going to be another dinner issue, but it'll be different because now everybody knows everything. And now it's like, and I feel like nothing was accomplished at this dinner. Nothing got solved.
I think mostly what we learn is how Gwen, she is Mysterio, or she's one of the Mysterios, how deep into this she is. Like, how, you know, serious she understands the plight that they're in is, almost to a scary level where she's, kind of like off-putting because she, says like, no, you're in a lot of danger.
Yeah.
We're in a lot of danger. This is what's going on. And yeah, you'll have to read it to see what you get out of this, but I won't say there's any big reveals or any big things changing or whatever. It's interesting. The art's good.
There's not even any big revelation. I mean, there's just nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. So interesting, especially with only what 4 or 5 issues left. Is 25 the last issue?
I think 24 is the last.
24. So 4 issues left in this form of Ultimate Spider-Man. There's got to be a lot coming up in the next 4 issues. So we'll see. You read it, form your own opinion.
Still love the series,
Yeah.
and I still can't wait to see how it all wraps up on the road to Ultimate Endgame. But this issue I didn't really love it.
Yeah.
That's all.
So here is your A cover for that. We also have this Woo variant. Their meeting is not as fun as that. No, nobody's in their costumes or anything.
Yeah. Peter does not get shirtless at dinner.
They're not playing strip poker.
Yeah.
And we also have this Dan Panosian 1 in 25 variant we're selling for $24.99.
Next, I've got Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, Rite of Spring #2. I love this book. So this issue partly focuses on this turtle character named Birdie. Like Bert, i.e. not Birdie like a little birdie, but Bertie. And he's pretty introverted, and he prefers to stay at home away from people. He has a job that he does his work from home. So he likes to stay indoors for the most part. But thanks to this new thing called the internet, he can still see what's going on in the world. Because remember, this takes place in the mid '90s, so the internet is just now starting to become a thing. And of course, they live in a small town called Woodbrook, so they might be a little bit slower to get new technology and that kind of thing. So this is all new to them. And so he's on the internet one day, and he's like, hey, I wonder if there's anything out there about Woodbrook, my town. He searches Woodbrook, and he sees that there's actually lots of news articles and message board posts and things like that about the murders that happened there in the previous series. And so he goes to tell his friends, like, oh my gosh, guys, they're actually talking about us on the internet. So that's part of the book. The other part is Sam, who is our lovable serial killer bear character. She takes a weekend trip to a brand new city so that she can fulfill her murderous urges, we'll say. But she also talks about how the world seems to be getting busier. There's construction everywhere. Things are being built. There's more highways and stuff. And it's getting harder to keep a low profile because things are just getting busier and busier everywhere. And when she gets back to town, she hears about the internet from Birdie, and so she's like, "Hey, I'm gonna try this thing out too." And let's just say that this opens a whole new door for her. And in the last issue, we see that the Duck character received a message on a message board about her dead brother, and the message was, "If you want to find out more, check Woodbrook." And we see kind of how that message comes about. So very cool, because Sam, the only way that she can, she knows that this Duck character is going to come poking around, so she's going to have to deal with it in her own special way. So yeah, very, very cool. And I love the time period too, early days of the internet, that kind of thing. So this is our A cover. There is a murder in this too, I'll say. There's our A cover right there. This is the, shoot, I just had it. This is the Elizabeth Beals cover. Looks like a Paddington storybook cover. Corduroy, that's right. Thank you. Corduroy. This is the Tony Fleek's homage cover. That's Natural Born Killers Has Never Been Cuter. And then we have the Virgin version of this A cover that we're selling for $9.99. We have the Virgin version of the Tony Fleek's cover that we're selling for $24.99. And we have the Virgin version of the Corduroy cover. That's what I think of it now. We're selling that for $59.99. I love this series.
Well, next up, we have a new kind of companion series to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is Shredder #1 by Dan Waters and Michelle Bandini. And this is interesting because the new Ninja Turtle series is not a reboot. It's a continuation. Well, if you know what happened in the previous series, Shredder died. There's a whole Shredder in Hell miniseries.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
About that.
So, how's Shredder here now? This is. I don't know if all of our questions are answered yet. I don't know if maybe I missed something from the previous series, but all I know is Shredder has not been in the Turtles books and the Turtles' lives for quite a
A long
while.
time, yeah.
But Shredder, or Rokusaki, arrives back in the city. Do we know how he got there? No, he just appears. He's got a long gray beard. Definitely looks like, he's been through it. And he returns to an old hideout of his that's now being overrun by another kind of gang. Um, and he does get caught, pretty much willingly by some cops where they bring him in, and we learn a little bit about what's going on with him, but it's very hazy. But he does kind of refer to being in hell, and it's kind of scary, the visuals that he keeps having flashes of. But there may be a use for him by the city of New York, and you might need someone of his caliber to take down some bigger threats. I don't want to give too much away. There's not a whole lot to the issue. Most of it is pretty silent as he takes on some of these other clans and everything. But it's really cool. I am very interested to see what happens next. There's a very fun part at the end where uh, let's just say he likes just to do it the old fashioned way.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a lot of big technology. He just needs his helmet and his claws. But it's very fun. There's no Ninja Turtles in it, but yeah, I always like Shredder as a character, and this is a fun one. So if you're reading that, but you like to have your full course of Ninja Turtles goodness with the turtles and Shredder and everything, you don't want to miss this one. I think this is ongoing too, if I'm not
I think so.
not mistaken. But I'm really interested to see, how did we get to this point with Shredder?
Yeah.
So there is your A cover. We have a Bandini cover. That's your interior artist, and it looks beautiful.
I like the artwork.
We have a foil cover of the A, and we have a blank sketch cover.
Next up, we've got Bring On the Bad Guys, Dormammu, and this is another pair of books that we're going to be talking about here. Yep. So this is from Alex Packnadel and Javier Pina, and most of this issue takes place around the 1920s, maybe 1930s, and is centered around this character named James Ravenglass. His father was a sorcerer, or some kind of actual magician with actual magic, but James was never much of one. But as he gets older, he's kind of like not a completely fake stage magician, but he's just not as good as his father was. And as he gets older, one day he summons Dormammu and bargains with him to be protected from all harm, because as he was growing up, he saw numerous mystical assassins come after his father, because his father was the descendant of one of those people. Like Mephisto needs his soul.
Yeah.
For the Soul Forge. And so all throughout his life, his father kept getting attacked by these assassins trying to get at his soul for Mephisto, and James does not want the same thing to happen to him. So Dormammu actually agrees to keep him safe from all harm all the time, but it's one of those monkey's paw type things where be careful what you wish for. And I love that kind of stuff. There is a really cool twist at the end. And it all leads into Bring On the Bad Guys Mephisto, which is the last part. But I will say, this is I think this is my second favorite issue after the Red Skull one. I really like this story. And whereas all the other books have been about the title character going to do a thing, this book is actually about this guy, James Ravenglass. He's the main character in it. And Dormammu is just the method by which he's able to do all these things. But it's really, really cool. I really like this one a lot. So there is our A cover right there, and then we've got some cool variants. This this is a Corin Howell variant. This is the Pina variant. This is your Todd Knock iconic variant. I love Dormammu. He's got such a cool look. The gorgeous J. Scott Campbell Just Spectacular cover with Doctor Strange, who was not in this. We have this 1 in 25 League Our Bet variant that we're selling for $19.99. And then we have this 1 in 50 Virgin Core Howl variant that we're selling for $49.99 with Sister Sorrow. And we get a lot of her in here. No, or am I thinking of that?
You're thinking of this.
Oh, never mind.
So, going right into it, that was the penultimate issue.
Yep.
This is the final issue. Bring on the bad guys, Mephisto. And unlike all the previous ones, this one doesn't... This is not a story about, like, oh, someone makes a deal with Mephisto and does all this. This is kind of the bookends to all these one-shots. This one is by Mark Guggenheim, who's kind of the orchestrator of this entire thing, with art by Alvaro Lopez. And I can't say too much about this because it's
the end,
the culmination of everything, Sister Sorrow and all of that. But we'll say that Mephisto's plan is really coming to fruition. Like, he's basically got everything he needed for the Soul Forge so he can control all the souls on Earth. And it really looks like he's accomplishing it. But, of course, who was one of the first guys he took on? Oh, that's Doom.
Yeah.
And Doom hates when anyone has the upper hand on him. And so Doom has a plan, along with some others, to stop Mephisto. It's not a spoiler because they do mention in the solicitation that this brings back all of the characters from the previous one into kind of a big group. And it's cool to see all those characters together. It feels like a very classic, almost like a Legion of Doom type thing, but with these Marvel villains. And I don't want to give away the ending, but we'll say Sister Sorrow plays a pivotal role in the entirety of this. And how it ends. So, if you've been reading them, especially if you've read all of them, you don't want to miss this one. You definitely want to read this one last, also because this does wrap up the story. I would love to see another volume of this and just pick different villains.
Yep.
I think there's plenty of them that could, be brought together, have these one-shots about them. I was thinking about that. You can even take the same heroes' villains, but do other characters.
Yeah, you could do Doc Ock, you could do Bullseye, you could do all kinds of characters.
Yeah, not Darkseid, the Shadow guy that Doctor Strange fights, and Ghost Rider, and Blackheart.
Oh yeah, Blackheart. Yeah,
Blackheart. Mm-hmm. You do characters like that.
Blackheart is Mephisto's son.
Yeah,
so yeah, he'd be great
cool,
for it.
Thing to do.
Stiltman.
Oh man, make him the big villain in all of it. He's built stilts to heaven. But yeah, this was fun. It definitely wasn't the biggest, like, oh my gosh, this issue was so great, because it does require the previous issues to make this one kind of stick the landing, as it were. So I wouldn't just recommend picking this one up, even though the previous issues I would say you could pick up pretty much any of them.
Yeah.
But still fun.
Yeah, you don't want to read this one on its own.
And I just, it's cool to see this one, this miniseries wrap up. So there is your A cover. We have this Campagna variant.
I like that one.
Yeah, it's really cool. We got this Todd Knock iconic variant. We've got this Mercado variant. And lastly, we have I think this is a 1 in 25 that we are selling for $24.99. This is a Pete Woods cover. And I think it's awesome with him against Franklin Richards, who does not appear in this, but that's pretty awesome.
I'd like to see it. All right, next up we have the final issue. I'm pretty sure it's the final issue of Fantastic Four Fanfare.
It only makes sense.
It only makes sense. Yeah, it would be weird if there were 5 of them.
Yep.
And just like all the other ones, there are 3 short one-and-done stories in here that aren't connected to anything else whatsoever. And this issue focuses on Sue. There's a story called Ain't No Grave, written by J. Michael Straczynski and the artist by Cafu. It's a really touching story with Sue and Mole Man. There's a story called One Night, written by Greg Wiseman with art by Mark Bagley. And this is actually set back when Sue had first become pregnant with Franklin. Like, they had just found out. and they tell the rest of the team. So the team decides to take the night off from superheroing and adventuring, and they spend the night at the carnival. But of course, the ringmaster and his circus of crime are there, and they might interrupt the Fantastic Four's peaceful night. And then the last story is called Clobber in Time, written by Daniel Warren Johnson, and the art is by Tyrell Cannon. And it's this big wrestling tournament organized by Namor with the help of Galactus
What?
to show Sue that Namor is the strongest and that she should love him. And it's not drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, but it looks like it is because there's these big wrestling moves, there's these big impacts, you've got the big sound effects. I don't know if that's Cannon's normal style. I'm not familiar with his work, but you could look at that and say, oh, Daniel Warren Johnson has something to do with this book for sure because that's what it looks like. And it's just so much fun. So yeah, a really cool issue of Fantastic Four. Fanfare. I love Sue, and this was and each story had it had a different tone to it as well. It ran the gamut of tones. So this is the only cover we have.
Next up, another one of my favorite books this week was Star Wars Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent number 3. This one kind of special, guest starring Han. The first two had Luke in them. Now we have Han in this one. Aphra gets a job getting an artifact from a crime lord named Sabi Sabo. And he looks like a giant, like with arms and legs, but like a moray eel. He's a very disturbing looking guy. And apparently he's known for like just eating people and all that. But he has this artifact that was stolen from its people and given to him by Han back in the day. And now they bring in Han because he's the only one that this crime lord kind of respects to get it back from him and return it to its rightful people. But they're not going to steal it. The crime lord is just going to give it over. And they think that seems very weird that, he went through all this trouble to get it, and a crime lord doesn't easily give up his prizes. Mm-hmm. So what's the catch in this? You'll have to read it to find out, but it is really, really fun. It's great to see Han and Aphra working together and them kind of trying to one-up each other on how good they are at jobs like this. We'll say Sabi Sabo does eat somebody, and it's horrifying. Just a giant, I don't know, 9 or 10 foot moray eel, big guy, just glom and choke someone down. Very crazy, very fun. Just a great issue. I believe the next issue is going to be Aphra teamed up with Chewbacca.
Nice.
So they're kind of, at least for the first little bit, having guest stars. And I think it's great. I love Aphra on these little jobs involving artifacts, which is, she's an archaeologist, so that works really well. But yeah, a great issue of one of the best Star Wars books coming out right now. So there is your A cover. We also have this Revenge of the Sith 20th anniversary cover. This is number 5 of 10. And we also have this Bengal, I believe it's a 1 in 25 that we're selling for $29.99.
I've got Death of the Silver Surfer number 3, and at the end of last issue, we saw that the Silver Surfer had been captured or kidnapped by the Bureau of Alien Naturalization, and now he's being held on a space station and is being guarded by Agent Ko, who is the new character that we've met in this series. Well, the Fantastic Four need his help, so they actually come to that space station to free him, but they'll have to get through Agent Ko first, which ends up not being as easy as it sounds. You would think the Fantastic Four against one person, but she's got some tricks up her sleeve, and they have a tough time getting to the Silver Surfer. So this story continues. If you've been reading it, this is the next part. So this is our A cover, and there are some really nice variants.
This has some of the best variants.
Yeah, this is the Castellini variant. Holy cow, can you imagine a foil of that? That would be so cool. This is the awesome J. Scott Campbell cover with Thanos, who does not appear in this. And this is the 1 in 25. Is this Simone Bianchi? We're selling this for $29.99.
Real quick, I want to mention Hellboy in the BPRD. Professor Harvey is gone. This is just a one-shot is releasing this week. This is just super fun. I love Hellboy. One of my favorite characters in all of comics. This is set in 1987. We don't even know much about Professor Harvey, just that he's kind of professor of antiquity or whatever. Hellboy's brought in because Professor Harvey was just in his study, like normal, nothing weird. His assistant went in to check on him, and he has disappeared with no signs of escape or leaving or anything. So where did he go? The only thing Hellboy can discover is a package was sent to him that had this little idol in it. And what happens when Hellboy picks that up? You'll have to read it to find out. But it's not too different than what is going on this cover. Just a really fun, one and done, supernatural. Hellboy gets to punch some stuff. Just great, great issue. So there is your A cover. And of course, the one that I got is this Mike Mignola variant. Just classic, classic Mignola Hellboy.
Next, I've got The Thing #4, continuing this really fun series. And this issue is really, really fun. It's super action packed. And this features The Thing fighting Juggernaut and Black Tom Cassidy. He fights Moonstone. He fights Rhino. He fights Red Ghost and his super apes. He fights the Sinister Six and lots more because the Kingpin has put out a $10 million bounty on his head, and all of these villains want to collect. And he's having to protect the young girl that they were trying to find at the beginning of the series. So he's trying to hold her, protect her while he's fighting all these other villains as well. It's a big battle all across the city. It's lots of action. It's just a lot of fun. Just a really cool comic book. And just wanted to tell you how awesome it is. And that's the only cover.
I wanted to show off that Emma Frost White Queen #3 is out. Not a whole lot to say about it, but I've really enjoyed this series. Emma is now on the run from the Hellfire Club and the Hellfire Agents, which I always love seeing them because it just reminds me of classic X-Men stuff. So she is heading to Hong Kong to their Hellfire Club to get help, but what what are they all about? What are their members like? Well, you'll have to read to find out, but they also have some very unique members, and will they help Emma Frost? You'll have to read to find out. But very fun. That is your A cover for that. We also have this really nice Malavia cover. And we have this Vecchio cover where she is reading Black Cat #1. She
nice.
picked up her
I wonder what she thought about it. Yeah, she picked up. All right, I've got Spider-Verse versus Venomverse #4. This is the next to last issue of this series, and it's more spiders versus symbiotes. But what's cool about this one is we do learn the origin of the Japanese Spider-Man's version of Venom, which we saw last issue, and that's pretty cool. I actually wouldn't mind a miniseries of just the two of them.
Yeah.
Because they both, you got your Japanese Spider-Man, your Japanese Venom. They both have these big mechs. Like, it's really cool, and we learn how all that came about. And then there's just lots more spiders and symbiotes fighting after that. But there's our A cover right there. And I love this design variant. I want to buy this for myself. This is the 1 in 10 design variant that we're selling for $7.99. I love that new costume for Japanese Spider-Man. It looks so good.
Real quick, I wanted to mention that Sonja #1 or Sonja Reborn #1 comes out this week. This is a pretty radical, different take on Red Sonja, or at least a Red Sonja story. This is by Christopher Priest, and the art is by Alessandro Miracolo. And this is kind of a isekai story where someone from a modern universe somehow switches places with Sonja back in the Hyborian age. I didn't get to read this as in depth as I wanted to because we had a lot that just came in today to read. But it was really fun from what I checked out. So if you're looking for kind of a new kind of twist on the Red Sonja story, we'll check out Sonja Reborn with this great A cover. We also got a Greg Land cover. We've got a cosplay cover like they do for so many of these. And I love this Middleton cover as well.
Last for me is Avengers #29. And it's been a minute since we talked about Avengers, but I wanted to talk about this one because this issue goes back to the concept of the tribulation events and the missing moment. It seems like forever since we've heard about those. Of course, they were introduced to us a couple of years ago in one of the Timeless issues, and then the first couple issues mentioned them as well, but they haven't really talked about them that much. But now we finally start to get some answers, We finally learn sort of what the missing moment is and where it came from. And it's not a spoiler to say this because it's right there on the cover, yeah, right there, that it has ties to 2015 Secret Wars, which is pretty neat. And it doesn't end with a to be continued. It just ends, how just like with the little Avengers symbol or whatever. But I hope that they're not abandoning this idea because there's something. I started theory crafting after this, and I don't think they're going to go where I think they could go with it, but maybe they will or something. So I just, I loved that idea, that concept when they first started talking about it. And I remember we were talking about, oh, what are these different tribulation events? There's all these different ones,
The Impossible City.
Yeah, the Impossible City and the Endless Night, that led us into Blood Hunt, and there was a bunch more, and wonder what they're going to be. So they finally revisited all that. After I thought maybe they forgot about him, but this issue was all about that. And Reed Richards doesn't get involved too because they need his help with it. So there's our A cover right there, and one of my favorite covers of the week. Holy cow! This is the J. Scott Campbell Just Spectacular Iron Man cover. That is beautiful.
It's very nice. Okay, I'm going to go through some rapid fire that I didn't get to read in depth too much, but I did want to make sure that you knew that it's coming out. So first off, we have Void Rivals issue number 22, getting very close to 25, which some big stuff's going to happen when you reach issue 25. So we have our A cover right there. Also want to mention a book I've really enjoyed. This is Gehenna, Naked Aggression. Issue number 3 is out this week. And this has been really fun, action-packed, nonstop, just craziness. So that's your kind of superhero character, Public Defender. That is your A cover. We also have a Carl Kerschel variant for that, which is really fun. Also want to show that Predator Black, White, and Blood number 2 is out. Just more standalone stories. It's got that one continuing story, but other standalone stories starring Predator. So that is your A cover. And we have a Gonzo variant for that. Then we have a new book I wish I got a chance to read, but it came in too late.
This sounded cool, yeah.
Red Vector number 1 from Mad Cave. Sounded really cool about alien kind of civil war and this person from Earth getting involved in it and coming between them. So that came out. So I do want to check this out. That is your A cover. And we've got a Megan Hetrick movie poster cover as well, which is very cool. And lastly, because I know there's a lot of Stitch fans out there, we actually have Stitch number 1 coming out this week. Stitch gets his own series, not a Lilo and Stitch, but just Stitch. So check that one out if you are a fan, coming out this week as well. And that is it, because this was so big. There's never a small week anymore. It is all big and only getting bigger as we're heading into the fall, kind of late summer, early fall area. That's when comics get even bigger.
Yeah, gosh, when October gets here,
October.
Oh my gosh,
we're gonna, I don't know, just have to live here and read comics and make videos. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to head over to infinityflux.net where you can go ahead and order these books while supplies last, especially the variant covers, the incentives, those go fast. So if you want one, go ahead and go on there and order it. That way when it is released on Wednesday, you won't miss out. You'll already have it and it will be ready for you. Make sure to tell us in the comments which of these books you're most excited about, your thoughts on them. We would love to hear and interact with you. And something else.
We'll be back on Wednesday with our comics pre-order and a flash video and the next episode of our Infinity Flex letters page where we talk live. It's our live show where we're going to talk about who knows what, but it's probably going to be related to comic books.
Usually is. Funny how it always circles back around. But again, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. And until next time,
see ya.